You open your eyes in the damp darkness of the small room behind the kitchen. Dawn light slips through the wooden slats, carrying the smell of smoke from the bread oven and the scent of ripe olives. Athens, 432 BCE. You are Eutyxos, a slave in the household of Callias, a wealthy merchant living at the foot of the Acropolis. Your body belongs to your master, but your mind belongs to you. You sit up, pulling on the torn, patched chiton you've mended 3 times. Bare feet touch the cold earth floor. Every morning is the same, yet today feels different. Today you carry a secret, a small papyrus scroll hidden inside your sleeve. Lines you secretly copied from Socrates, words you overheard in the Agora last week. I know that I know nothing. The mistress calls from the main room. Eutyxos, water, bread, and don't keep the children waiting. You hurry out. Jug of water in one hand, basket of bread on your shoulder. There are 12 slaves in Callias' house. You are the one most trusted, because you can read and write, captured as a boy from Miletus. Sometimes the master lets you read aloud to his son, but only to practice proper Attic pronunciation. They don't know that every night, by the flickering oil lamp, you sit and wonder, is Aristotle right that a slave is a living tool? Or was Menander closer when he whispered, be free in soul even if the body is enslaved? You kneel and scrub the floor with your bare hands. The scent of pine wood and last night's Chian wine still lingers. The mistress passes without looking at you, as though you were furniture. But her 8-year-old daughter runs over and presses a red apple into your palm. Eutyxos, tell me about the stars today. You smile and whisper, and the stars belong to no one, little mistress. They are as free as our thoughts. At noon you are allowed to go to the Agora with another houseboy. This is when you truly live. The Agora buzzes like a beehive. Vendors shout, fresh fish from Piraeus, Lydian silk. Beneath the painted colonnade of the Stoa Poikile, a crowd surrounds a barefoot, shaggy-bearded man. Socrates. You slip behind a column, heart pounding. He is asking, what is justice, my friends? A citizen sneers. Justice is whatever the strong decide. Socrates shakes his head. Then what of the slave? Is there justice for him? You cannot stay silent. Hands trembling, you step forward, voice quiet but clear. Teacher, if the body is chained, can the soul still soar? Or are we all slaves to our own desires? The market falls quiet for a heartbeat. Socrates turns, eyes blazing. Who taught you to speak like that, young man? You bow your head. Your words, sir, and the nights I spent thinking alone. He laughs loudly. Athens is a strange place indeed. Even a slave knows how to ask questions. From that day, your life changes. By day, you still sweep, cook, bathe your master. By night, Callias allows you to accompany his son to philosophical discussions, on condition you remain silent. But you do not remain silent. You whisper to the boy, Plato speaks of the cave. We see only shadows. But if we dare to turn our heads, we will see real light. The boy nods, eyes shining. Then disaster strikes. One afternoon, the mistress finds your hidden papyrus. She screams, he's poisoning my son with dangerous ideas. He wants to stir rebellion. Callias summons you to the inner courtyard. The leather strap is raised, but he does not strike. Athenian law forbids masters from flogging good slaves. He only stares and says coldly, I gave you the gift of speech, and you use it to corrupt my son's mind? Tomorrow you will be sold in the slave market. You kneel, not from fear, from grief. Not grief at being sold, but at losing your last chance to speak truth. That night you do not sleep. With charcoal on a scrap of cloth you write, Honored master, I do not seek freedom of body if the soul remains chained. Grant me one chance to speak before you. The next morning, a miracle. Callias, a man who secretly loves philosophy, agrees. He invites 3 wealthy friends and Socrates himself. You stand in the marble-paved courtyard before 6 free citizens. No chains on your wrists, but your heart beats like a war drum. Socrates speaks first. Eutyxos, what do you say of freedom? You draw a deep breath, voice ringing like a bell. Gentlemen, Aristotle calls the slave a living tool. But I ask you, if a tool can think, can love, can weep at the beauty of the Parthenon at sunset, Is it still merely a tool, or has it become human? My body is enslaved, yet my soul has flown to the peak of the Acropolis with Prometheus. You may sell me, beat me, kill me, but you cannot kill the question I ask today. Who is truly the slave? The one in chains, or the one chained by greed, by fear of losing wealth, by the habit of believing he is always right? Silence. One citizen growls, "Insolent!" But Callias raises a hand. He looks at you for a long time, then says, "I thought slaves only worked. Today I see I was wrong. Eudoxos, you are no longer my slave. I will sign your manumission. But you must promise, keep teaching my son, and teach me as well." You fall to your knees, tears falling. Not for freedom gained, but because at last someone has heard the voice of a soul once buried alive. But the story does not end there. You become a freedman, living independently, running a small stall in the agora selling hand-copied scrolls. People call you the philosopher slave. Socrates often stops by, grinning. "I have found Athens' strangest pupil." Young Plato, too, once sat and listened to you debate true justice. Years later, when the Peloponnesian War breaks out, you choose to stay in Athens rather than flee. You teach poor children, citizen and slave alike, that freedom is not the absence of chains. Freedom is how you choose to live even when chained. And on the final night of your life, lying on your sickbed, gazing at the star-filled Athenian sky, you smile and whisper to yourself, "I was once a slave, but I was never truly enslaved, because my mind has always belonged to the cosmos."